The cults that tortured me were intergenerational and interconnected. I know that they were intergenerational because my great-grandparents, my grandparents, and my parents all tortured me within cult. And I'm guessing that it went back much farther than that, but that is all that I can say for sure. There were three main cults: Satanic, KKK, and Nazi, and all of them were white supremacist, misogynist, queerphobic. All of them got off on torture and hurting and murdering kids. There were also other cults that they were connected to that weren't the main ones. So there were women-only ones like Wicca. There were male-only ones. There were ones that have a do-good reputation in society, organizations that were mainly men before and now they've accepted women. And there are ones that are religious-based. I've talked about this before, and this is something that is really hard for most cult torture survivors, including me, to talk about and especially publicly to name, because we were taught through torture and witnessing murder that we would be killed if we talked, and especially if we named any cults. So I do it in a more general way to not set off more programming and have a really rough time. It is a question that so many people ask out of curiosity, but I wish people would think a bit more before asking, because this is something really traumatic to talk about. And it can set off a lot of old mind control messages, which most people would not understand or know. And also, while these cults are very organized, and they seem to be in every country, like my parents took me traveling, and they met us up every single country that they took us to. And I've talked to survivors in other countries who've been through the exact same or very similar torture and mind control as me. They are not like getting people off the street. They are not gaining members off the street. At least in my experience, we were born into it. And I was never a member. I did not have a choice. But I'm saying my great-grandparents, my grandparents, my parents were all part of it. And they chose to become cult instead of trying to escape and fighting back like I did and like some other survivors did. But they're not getting people off the street. For their torture victims, we are born into it. For the kids that they murder, they force women and folks with uteruses to bear children that are unregistered and stay unregistered and are just for the murder. Sometimes they would take homeless people, but that wasn't the main source of victims. And most of us, for all the torture and mind control, were born into it.